Batman, The Brave and the Bold, issue 2, Tom King and Mitch Gerrits. Now, obviously, it's not just them, it is an anthology book. There's 3 other stories, but much like last month, we've only read, well, actually, I don't know, maybe Matt did read another story.
I read the Joel Jones because it's like 6 pages, so I can talk about that one.
Oh, you're breaking out all the.
It's a nice little palate cleanser that's didn't leave me feeling sad and scared like the end of this one. So
Okay.
Yeah.
So we gushed over the last part of this story. This is obviously the Stoker of Joker's first, rodeo in Gotham. And this issue likewise starts off with another rich guy who's been promised that he's going to be killed by the Joker at midnight. Yep. And Gordon and the police are waiting around with him. Again, we said this last time, I'm sure, but this all goes all the way back to Batman issue 1, the Joker's first ever story. This was the kind of thing that he did right from the start. And it still works today. It's still a really good, effective, tense bit of storytelling. So, hold on, there we go. So, it brings back the silent film style panels for Joker's dialogue, which is still very effective. And we basically get what eventually is the murder of this rich guy, but also all of the cops that are there except Gordon, seemingly.
And also what got me too, right, is that they're all standing around and Gordon's promising this guy, look, we got you, there's no way he can get in, and there's zero corruption because these are all guys I personally trust, right?
Yeah, which makes it hit harder when they all... Yeah.
Right. That these were like the good cops of Gotham. And when Joker attacks, and right, he hits the guy with the poison dart, and the Joker gas paralyzes all the other cops. He makes his appearance. He was hiding in the suit of armor in this guy's house, and it's very prominent in the art, right? As it goes around, you keep seeing the suit of armor, and he gets up and he just starts wrecking people with swords as they're on the ground.
I guess spoiler for a famous movie from 2004. So if you don't want a spoiler for Saw, then skip ahead like 30 seconds. But it's he pulls a Saw. He's there the whole time in the room. That's very, very Saw. Also, as we go through here, I will point out some of Joker's really dark jokes because I think they're quite funny.
Yeah, me too. I was like, I feel bad for laughing at this, but that's a good joke.
Yeah, the first one's quite extended, but basically it's like, oh, my girlfriend kept saying she wanted to have a fairy tale marriage. So I conceded, and she didn't seem to like it when I dressed her in my grandma's clothes and fed her to a wolf. It's not the best one in the book, but it got a chuckle out of it.
Yep.
But anyway, so yeah, this scene is pretty brutal. Obviously the knight, the suit of armor, like he opens it up eventually after he's been hacking with the sword for a bit, and then.
But it's also the way that Garrett's is drawing him with the dark pupils too. It gives them a demonic presence, like even more so than the Joker. Like it's definitely playing with the whole theatrics, right? Because this is Gordon's point of view, you would think. Right?
Yeah, it seems like it, because it's always looking up at him. Yeah.
Right. And with the effects of the gas or whatever, it kind of feels like when people see Batman, right, and they think he's more creature than man. So I felt like it was kind of playing with that whole idea too.
Yeah, because
it's building the myth of the Joker.
Yeah, Gordon and all the cops are paralyzed. They've been hit with gas, not Joker gas, just paralyzing gas. Whereas the guy that he's there to kill, that he said he was going to kill, he immediately got darted with a Joker toxin. So he's smelling dead, as you expect. But the cops are just paralyzed, which actually is time for joke number 2. One time I neglected to open a door for a lady and she yelled at me, "Chivalry is dead." I disagreed, so I challenged her to a duel. In the end, I won the argument. Chivalry's not dead, but she is.
That one's there. There's another one that I'm sure you'll get to. That one was close to my favorite.
Yeah, I like that one. That one. The irony of him proving chivalry is not dead by killing a woman for saying that chivalry is dead is the sort of dark funny that gets to me. So Joker is a great full page panel looking up at him. Again, so Gordon's he's helpless. He's on the ground, and he literally describes how Joker cut out some of the eyeballs of the other cops and started juggling with them in front of him. And he tells Batman that he's going to have to do 8 funerals, all of them closed casket. Dark as shit,
Yeah, it was like when again, the Riddler by the same team, the One Bad Day Riddler, where there's just this sense of, like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not tension, a sense of dread just throughout. So, like, when Gordon says, yeah, I have to have 8 funerals, all of them closed casket, and these are supposed to be, like, the best cops in Gotham. The ones that, you know, it's almost just like this one event made Gotham worse.
Which actually leads to like what you're saying to Batman here as well, but it's this idea that this is a type of villain that the regular infrastructure of the city, that the police force just cannot handle. This guy is beyond their capabilities. This is someone who is crazy, who has went off the deep end, who's a force of nature, and that basically he needs someone else who's broken. And that's when Batman's out the scene. But it's basically Gordon saying, you're all we've got to fight him, because we can't. He is just too much, he's too almost like ethereal of like a villain for them to even...
Again, this is what builds the myth of Joker, right?
Yeah.
It's building that aura that he carries.
So Batman's big plan to lure the Joker into a trap is to talk to the rich asshole that he was talking to last issue at the party, and basically he says, I'm going to do this thing where I'm going to say the Joker can't kill me, and I'm going to knock the Joker out when he gets here, and I'll be the guy who took down the Joker because I'm a badass. But he's saying all this, and he says it in really sort of non-Batman-y dialogue. It all sounds really weird, but it's intentional because he's trying to sound like a dude bro. And it's basically to convince this arrogant asshole to do what he was suggesting, so that there's a trap laid for Joker, because he thinks Joker will see it coming if it's from Bruce Wayne. It'll sound too good to be true, whereas this guy's the perfect schmuck to do this.
Well, and that goes into the moral that Alfred tells Bruce about. He goes, your father used to like to fish, and I would offer to bait the hook for him, and Thomas would tell me, like, no, I have to kill the worm in order to eat. So it makes it, special, right? And then Bruce says, I believe, something like, well, I wouldn't kill the worm, And Alfred's like, well, yeah, but that part of it is, like, you're sacrificing this for something bigger, right? And it just made me look at Bruce thinking, like, oh, I'm going to get out of this by using this guy as bait, right? And he gets him killed, right? Like, it's like he's overestimating his skill at this point, right? Because this is still year one.
Yeah, so... it's still year one. Alfred's basically saying, like Thomas, like basically it was only honorable for him to kill the worm himself because he was the one going to be benefiting from it. And Bruce's response is, no one dies. Like, very stern, very Batman, like, no one dies. Like, I'll stop anything from happening. But we get this, like, montage of, like, different criminals talking about this rich guy who's clearly been bragging that he's going to take out the Joker. And we even see, like, the guy lying on the table in, like, what looks like the morgue that Joker's, like, hearing this from.
He's operating on him while he's awake.
Yeah.
Talk about Saw. Like, whew.
Yeah. And then you see, like, from behind, like, the curtain, that slightly transparent medical curtain where you just see sort of his, like, silhouette through it. It's super atmospheric, super grime, dark, all that stuff. And sure enough, we go to this rich guy, Nelson, who's sitting with a gun in his hand, and he's big mansion waiting for the Joker. And of course, he hears, a knock at the door, and he's like, "Who's there?" He's like, "Justin." He's like, "Justin, who? You effing clown!" Just in time. And then Bardsy's in. He gets shot multiple times in the chest, which I assume he's wearing a vest, or maybe he's just Joker, so whatever.
Right.
But he's screaming at him, and I love this. So he's stabbing at him, and he stabs Nelson through his hand. It's super violent. But this page, which is split up into 6 panels, the stabbings are all on the left side. On the right side, it's just the silent cinema, text for his dialogue, and it's just Joker saying it over and over again, "Do you get it?" So I'm just imagining Joker stabbing at someone, going, "Do you get it? Stab. Do you get it? Stab."
Yep.
That is about as manic as a possible scenario as I can think of. It's
and it makes him feel like a proper slasher villain, right?
Oh yeah, it makes him scary. Yeah.
Like the way that he just comes through, and he's never. It's Michael Myers-esque, right? Where he's just not going to stop. He's almost a force of nature at this point.
Yeah, he's just a lot more chatty, obviously, but
Of course, of course.
yeah, obviously see Batman's hand coming at the end of that page though, and then next page Batman's got him by the shirt, and I think it's interesting that Batman's first thing is to tell Joker, because Joker's so scary to everyone else, and Batman's thing's obviously about fear and that, you know, criminals are superstitious, they were cowardly, blah blah blah, and he's basically asserting to Joker, I'm not going to be scared of you, but I am the goddamn Batman, so you're going to be scared of me. He's basically trying to, like, obviously this is his tactic with everyone, but on some level it's like either he's underestimating Joker or he's trying to convince himself that's true. Yeah. As he's coming after Joker. Who, by the way, before he jumps out the window, does tell a joke. Here's one. What did the cannibal do after he dumped his girlfriend? He wiped his ass.
That was a groaner one for me.
I don't know, that's pretty funny.
I'm gonna chalk that up to Joker, just stabbing a dude, adrenaline's going, he's not thinking clearly.
This one. I was digging around in my backyard and I found a lockbox. I pried it open and it was full of cash, thousands of dollars. I rushed inside to tell my wife, and then I remembered why I was digging in the backyard.
That's my favorite one.
That's the one that got you the most.
That's the one that got me, because that's a joke on levels. Yeah. So.
Oh dear. Honestly, one of my favorite panels of this whole thing is on that page with that joke, and Joker's kind of gotten away, and it's like he's hitchhiking, and there's just this kind of like foggy panel of him standing with his thumb out.
It's the stuff of nightmares.
It's beautiful.
Like it's just scary clown standing in the fog. I don't know how you consider that beautiful. Yes, Garrett's art is beautiful. That image though.
Yeah, beautiful in a horror way, though. Yeah. But like, and he obviously kills this guy who drives up to see who it is, and just he literally yeets him out the car.
Well, I do like though that he, anytime he stabs, he does say, "Do you get it?" Yeah. So it's like, getting the point across, if you will.
Batman obviously gives chase. Probably one of the weaker jokes for me in this page, which is someone was jumping at a restaurant and someone said, does anyone know CPR? And I said, not off the top of my head, but if you hum a few bars, I might pick it up.
And then everyone in the place started laughing and laughing, except for one guy.
Probably the guy who was dying.
Right. And I think that one's about delivery. Yeah. I think the right person delivering that joke, it works.
That's true, yeah. If someone, it's the way you say, except for that one guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the way you say that probably that gets it. Also, my girlfriend's dog died and she took it really hard, so I tried to make her feel better by buying her an identical dog, but that just made her more upset. She just shouted at me, why would I want two dead dogs?
That's an Always Sunny plotline right there.
Oh dear. So yeah,
that's a Frank Reynolds thing to do.
So Batman tries to jump out of this car, and he ends up getting hit by the car or whatever, and like falling to the ground. So Joker actually gets a chance to just stomp at him and kick him when he's on the ground, and it feels really manic. There's blood spatter kind of coming up as he's kicking Batman while he's down, and Batman's trying to say the word pathetic, but he can't get it out because he keeps getting kicked.
Yep.
Also, actually, that's maybe my favorite joke now that I'm thinking about it. Give a man a match, he's warm for a day. Light him on fire, and he's warm for the rest of his life.
I mean, that's also factually true.
It's factually true. You can't deny it.
Also, I don't know how much of a joke this is, but I'm sorry and I apologize mean the same thing, except at a funeral.
No, I get this one. This is basically saying... No. So if you're at a funeral and you say, I'm sorry, everyone says that. But if you're at a funeral and you say, I apologize, that implies you killed them.
I don't know if that's as much of a joke as much of it's just like one of those, philosophical... type thing. And so to me, that one also really stands out because it's as he is stomping the ever-loving piss out of Batman.
Yeah. I read a whole book about an immortal dog. It was impossible to put down. That's good.
That's a Tim joke.
Honestly,
that's a Tim joke.
The worst joke here, probably just because it was so predictable, was the one about the bananas, where he's like, someone told me that humans eat more bananas than monkeys. At first I didn't believe them, but then I was like, when was the last time I ate a monkey? Like, that punchline is so obvious that that one didn't land for me at all. But almost the rest of them I thought were great.
I mean, they run the gamut, right? And not all jokes are going to hit for everybody. Even Joker knows that.
Yeah, so we're actually at the end of the story here. He's stomping the shit out of Batman, and then he throws Batman over the bridge that they're on. and he's falling from the bridge. It looks great. I love how in the last panel you can see Joker's actually waving goodbye on the bridge. He's tiny in the frame, but you can see him.
That is so funny, though.
Yeah. And it does that thing as well where same as the last issue, where the silent film caption boxes start to deteriorate as if the film's going out of whack. Wonderful. And this issue is, when you look back at it once you've read the whole thing, I think it's exactly what it needs to be. This is Batman thinking he can deal with this new threat, but he doesn't actually properly take him as seriously as he should yet.
Yeah. He's no longer fighting gangsters and criminals.
Yeah, this is a whole new thing.
It's a whole new thing, and he's got to adjust, right? In hockey, they say you make the adjustments in between the periods. Well, he's got to come in from the next one ready to go, because he's at the bottom of the river right now. It's
also when you try and get pregnant in between the periods.
Hey, now, that's a Joker joke.
That's what I was going for.
Yeah. Also factually true, like the Man on Fire.
It wasn't dark enough to be a proper Joker joke,
True.
though. I need to work in some death or something.
Sure. But yeah, no, this is another just masterclass from King and Garrett's.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Obviously, the first chunk of it's that just horrifically horror story of the Joker coming and killing this man, despite Gordon doing his best to stop it. It's setting up that it needs someone different, like a Batman, to deal with the problem. But then Batman is too overconfident and doesn't really, understand how dangerous the Joker is yet, and that leads to his failure here. So obviously, you expect he's learned a lesson and will be bouncing back. If not next issue, then certainly over the next several. But no. As far as building up Joker as a threat and as an imposing villain.
Yeah. Well, and it feels like this is a special Joker, too. This is not like a Joker we've read too many times before. Because I feel the team puts in, the wave at the end, right? Sometimes people focus too much on making Joker, dark and scary. But I feel like here, King and Garrett's are really having fun with that.
He's probably darker and scarier than most versions of the Joker, but with these little flourishes of but he's still got his goofy little moment at the end.
So I haven't seen Terrifier, but is this what Art the Clown's kind of like?
Well, he doesn't speak, but I can see the comparison.
The gestures.
There's a moment in Terrifier 2 where they're in a costume store, right? And the main character's buying a costume, and Art's in there, right? And he's just sort of sulking about in the background, and he picks up the little horn thing that you squeeze, right? And he starts walking towards the main character like this, the proper sneaky hands up in the air thing. And he gets up, and the way he slides into frame, and then just slowly brings up the horn to ear level, and she knows he's there, but she's trying not to look at him, and then she just says, "Please don't." And then he starts squeezing the horn. That is a very Joker moment, actually. I never really thought about it, but that's very Joker.
And not just because of the clown, but I can just, from what I've heard, because he does, it's all it's a very physical performance.
Yes.
And a lot of the stuff in this, especially this issue, a lot of the stuff that Joker does that's kind of funny is all physical.
Yeah, but this King and Garrett story is phenomenal. It's wonderful stuff. I mean, we can rate this, I think, and then you can tell us a little bit about that one short backup story you read. But
I don't remember if I went the full 10 on the last one.
You may have done. I can't remember.
Or if we did 9.5. So I want to keep it consistent because this is just as good. So I'm just gonna give this the 10 because it's
just in case.
And if not, we'll just say that Joker making me laugh with the jokes in this one. It was a little half point more, but it's either 9.5 or a 10 last time. And this is the same quality.
Yeah.
So
I will say I think I slightly preferred the first one by a smidge, by a smidge.
Yeah.
So I will say this is a 9.5. I don't remember what I gave the last one. Either it's the same or it's a half point down. Either way, I'm comfortable with that. That's okay. So that is the main story in Batman Brave and the Bold. It is excellent. Admittedly, $8 per an issue if you really care about the one main story. Is a tough sell, so wait in the month for DC Infinite, or indeed the excellent hardcover I imagine is going to exist of just this story when it's done.
You guys are, if you're not reading this and you listen to us talk about it, you are going to want to see this.
It's a treat. It's an absolute treat.
It's one of those. So
there you go. You can tell us a little bit about the Joel Jones story.
So this Joelle Jones story, it's basically just a showcase for her art, and it's all black and white, and she gets credit for the story and the art, and it's called Scars, and it's Batman slinking into the Batcave, and he's all beat up, his legs bleeding, he's leaving like a trail of blood. There's this really nice page that it starts with him at the top, and it's got a small figure Batman, and he's got like a trail of blood, and then as you follow it, the trail of blood becomes the Batcave, and you see all of the different cars and the giant dinosaur, the giant penny, all that other stuff, and he gets over to the Bat computer, and he slinks down, and he starts in a monologue. You know, it's not as bad as I thought it could have been. It could have been worse. And you know, but I'm sure like it'll leave scars in another way, and it comes around, and it's, you know, Bane breaking his back, and then Batman's back is, so he's remembering like the worst injuries.
I was just trying to be funny, man.
Gotcha. And Batman's back is to us, and you just see all the scars on there, like it's just ghastly. And as he's sitting here thinking, he's got the tray next to him with all the different surgical instruments, and all these panels are different fights that he's been in. So you see, like, there's Two-Face and Killer Croc, Black Mask, Poison Ivy, Man-Bat, I think Clayface, Ventriloquist, and there's just all these different violent things that have happened to him. And it all looks great because it's black and white. It's very Joelle Jones sketchiness to it.
Joelle Jones.
There you go. And then he just, you know, leans back in on the Bat computer. It's more of these. They're like, but these are like big moments from Batman's history. Like you have when the Talon snuck up on him in the Court of Owls, and, you know, stabs him through the back. You have Joker and a bunch of playing cards. One of them sticking into Batman. I'm trying to see what some of these other ones are, but it's a treat. And he starts thinking about Selina, so we get a page that's just his interactions with her over time, and, you know, how sometimes she's nursed him back to health, but other times that she's been the reason that he's been there. And as you follow that page down, it's Bruce training, but then it's also various members of the Bat family training with him. And he's, you know, he's looking wistfully, almost as if, like, you know, this is why I do this. And then he starts thinking about his mom and dad, and I go, I swear if I have to see the pearls, I'm going to throw my iPad, right? And it doesn't. It just shows, you know, Thomas and Martha walking, and then Alfred comes up behind him and goes, "Sir, may I be of some assistance?" And Bruce replies that, "Yeah, I just got a little distracted," and he starts tending to Bruce's wounds, and it ends with an image of Alfred consoling a young Bruce, being like, you know, we're going to get you fixed. That's what I'm here for. So it's just this very nice kind of story of all the trauma that Bruce has been through, and the people that have always, you know, been there for him, whether it's the Bat family or Alfred or whoever else. But it's mostly just a thing, just a showcase of Joelle Jones's art, and it looks fantastic in black and white. It's got all these mood to it, and when he's looking kind of wistfully, it translates very well. So it's definitely worth, if you already bought this, it's worth just to go look at it. It'll take you a couple minutes to get through, but very, very strong stuff.